Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for PIK live from the Knitting Wars. I'm Deplorable Knitter. We're joined by Ann Pinkova and her little friend, and then we have Stephanie with Texas Peach Knits. So thanks for joining us today. Hi everybody. So what's new? Before we get started, tell us the dog's name. Get it out of the way.
His name is Panks. He is not my dog. And he's a little turd sometimes. So got that.
That's nice. So what's up, girls?
Well,
nothing.
I'm gonna have 2 kids in braces very soon. I signed on the dotted line today.
Oof.
So you're taking out a second mortgage on your house to pay for it?
Basically.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yes, and I asked the orthodontist, like, do you do like frequent flyer plans? Because I have another kid that we already know needs braces. And the 4th kid, we're not sure yet, but like I should get a buy 3, get 1 free.
Yeah, or if not that, then like, every kid you bring back get an extra 10% off. Like,
yeah,
that'd also be fine.
Is there a referral plan, but you can refer yourself?
That's a good idea. I should recommend that. Like, can I I don't think there is, but I should do that for sure. But it is painful. Luckily, dental insurance is not as awful as health insurance is. Like, dental insurance still covers some stuff.
Well, funny you should say that. You didn't hear the story about my kid and their broken tooth, did you?
Oh no, I didn't.
So this was a few weeks ago. I don't even remember when, probably in September sometime. And we have such awful dental insurance that I could not find a pediatric dentist anywhere that took it. I would have had to drive an hour and a half to the next big city. And we ended up in the dental urgent care because what happened is they broke their tooth. And we knew it was a baby tooth. So we weren't like super worried about it, but we were worried, like, if it's not ready to come out and it still has roots, like, are we going to have an infection kind of situation? We just needed to know what was happening. It was a nightmare. It took like 6 hours to get it taken care of. Whereas if we had had my husband's company, they're a very, they do a lot of good in the community, but they do not take care of their people at all. And so we have the worst insurance ever. And our dental insurance is so bad that there's one place that takes it. And so I took our kid there first, and the mouth was too small to get the sensor in to take an x-ray. And so they wouldn't even see them. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So anyway, apparently dental insurance is good if you have dental insurance that people take. If you have what we have, it's not any fun.
Right. Yeah. I think we had like levels offered to us, and I had so many teeth problems as a child. I told my husband, like, this is mostly genetic. We need to pay for the good dental insurance.
Yeah, if we had a choice, we would. But like literally, it's like, this is the one. And I don't know if you guys have them where you are, but Aspen Dental's the only one that takes them. And Aspen Dental's the people like, oh, you haven't gone to the dentist in 20 years. We'll give you a free exam. Those people. And I'm like, geez.
And then they tell you have 10 cavities.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why they want you in, because they're like, ooh, money.
Yeah.
See, so I would just be glad that, you're getting your kids in for dentist work. I had my dental work done later. So I started braces at 19. Do not do that. That is not fun.
My mom had them as an adult, and it was awful. I remember her, like, I was a kid, like 8 or something, and she had them, and it was awful. So
yeah, and I mean, my end results of teeth aren't great, but whatever. I had to get them off. Like, my mouth may be a mess, but also that's done, and I don't want to go back. So got that going for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's hard. So anyway, braces and dental work suck in general.
Yeah.
And then I'm the person, I had the braces and I never wore my retainers. And now my mom's just like, I bet you your kids aren't going to wear them either. And then you know, you're gonna pay for those braces and they're not gonna wear them. And now you're gonna know how I felt. And I'm like,
I never wore
thanks.
my retainer for a day, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, no, I have a few that moved, but most of them stayed okay. So I'm like, it worked out. It's all right.
I had the weird thing where they wanted me to put little rubber bands attaching my top and bottom braces.
I had that.
Yeah, that was no good.
I also had headgear.
Oh,
Mine had to be pushed back because there's a lot of crowding in the front. But luckily, I only had to wear the headgear at night. So the only reason the kids in school knew I had it was because I had an older brother. So
Wow.
he thought that was hilarious, and everybody knew about it.
Well, not to brag or anything, but my oldest child already needs 2 implants. And
Wow.
she has this tooth in the front. It looks normal, but actually the tooth next to it is inside of it. So like he's missing a tooth because the 2 teeth, the one grew inside of the other tooth.
That's the weirdest thing. I've never heard of that.
I had never heard of it either. And we went to the dentist and they did an x-ray and they're like, you need to go to a endodontist. And then we went to the endodontist and they were like, can we send this picture to all of our friends?
That's where you know that you've really made it. You're like, ooh, not only is this wrong, like this is super interesting and wrong.
Stephanie, that's where you bargain. You can send it to all your friends if you give me a little bit of a deal on this too.
Help me out.
Right?
It's for science. So, but she's missing. So she's missing.
If you're going to use her photo in the textbook, can we at least get a little bit of the?
Yeah, get some royalties or something.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, fun times in parenting.
Man, I love parenting, but then there's stuff like the day where I was running around the whole city trying to find a dentist, and I'm like, who decided this was a good idea? I don't think it was me. Must have been somebody else.
Well, if you're anywhere close to Albany, my aunt is a dentist in Albany.
We're far enough away that would be stupid.
Yeah.
It's like 4 or 5 hours, I think.
Well,
so
I have thought about like mailing my daughter to Albany so that aunt could make her like implant pieces, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Texas Sheep Lady says it's really bad when the dentist or the vet gets excited about the uniqueness of your case. Like, yay.
Yes. So anyways.
Also a little earlier Adam, as always, is punning it up. I think Solzhenitsyn is the best. That's my personal favorite of all of Adam's puns right there. Just that one wins. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, Adam's been in the comments making all kinds of puns. If you guys don't watch us live on Tuesdays, you should, because he's in there amusing everybody while we talk about dentists. So it works out. And I don't know if it's happening to everybody, but on my screen, Anne is glitching and like, no offense, I don't want to look at you because your like face is shaking back and forth. Oh, now Stephanie's doing it.
That's not happening to me. So
okay, good. So it must just be my internet or something.
Hopefully it's a you problem.
Like having a party. Like she's like
no one's having a seizure or something.
I was thinking more along the right lines of a rave, but whatever.
Okay, well, I'll get the lights going.
So I know Stephanie wants to talk about the whole nonsense thing, but before that, let me just tell you guys about my day. Okay? Ready? So, refresher, I clean houses for money. That's what I do when I'm not teaching my kids and doing this and, you know, everything else. Mm-hmm. So today I had 2 houses to clean. Didn't have a ton of time, but I'm like, you know what? I think I can get it done. Go to the first house. It's a nightmare. I knew it would be. I throw in a little laundry. The next house is a quarter mile down the road. So I'm like, well, that laundry's washing. I'm going to go check the other house, see what's up. So I get there. It's a nightmare. It shouldn't have been. It should have been fine. So I ended up staying there and cleaning. And so, you know, I'm mad, but it's my job. So I'm doing the cleaning. And then all of a sudden, there's this really weird smell in the bathroom and smoke. And I'm like, oh my God, the freaking house is on fire. And so I'm running around. The dryer had been going. And I'm like, it must be something to do with the dryer because I was in this bathroom it was fine. And now there's smoke and it
Right.
smelled like incense burning. And I'm like, what is happening? So I turn off the dryer and I go in the basement, make sure nothing's on fire. And I go outside the house where the dryer vent is. And, I'm running around looking for fire. There's no fire, but there's smoke in the bathroom. And I'm like, what is happening? So then I had to call my boss, who happens to be in Florida. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's fire somewhere. It smells, it doesn't smell like fire, but it's smoke and burning. And long story short, this took I could have probably gotten the other house halfway done before I had to leave today. But because I was not doing this nonsense, they were doing those stupid tests where they check to see where your house sewer, they blow the smoke in and then it comes out your vents so that they can make sure nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so in New York, because they like to charge us and tax us and penalize everybody, they come through periodically and blow smoke into the sewer and then watch it come out, because everybody's supposed to have a vent on the top of their roof where it comes out. And if it comes out out of your drain pipes or different places, then you get in trouble and you have to pay a fine. So obviously in New York, this is a thing. But come to find out, they were doing that, and the plumbing in that bathroom must have a crack in it somewhere. So when they did that, it came up into the bathroom and said, but I wasted 45 minutes of my life trying to figure out where the fire was today. So that happened.
Yeah,
that sounds like the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, there's nothing like finding you about your sewer system. That's great.
Well, I'm like, there was smoke coming out of this pipe. I'm on the phone with the guy and I'm sending pictures and videos, and he's like, are you sure it's smoke? Real smoke? I took a video of smoke. I have a video on my phone now of smoke in his bathroom. And I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from. So it was from the sewer. That was my story about that and my very long day.
That is a long day. Yeah, I'm paranoid about smoke too. Yeah, I'm paranoid about smoke because we actually did have a fire in in the ranch behind our house. There's a big grass fire one year. And so now anytime I smell smoke, I'm like, oh no, the ranch is on fire. I'm like, Little House on the Prairie, you gotta get the bucket. Usually my next door neighbor likes smoking meat. So I always check there first.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. And it didn't smell like fire. It smelled like incense. And I'm like, what is happening? I know that there was no incense burning there. I was in that bathroom. I cleaned it already. What is going on?
I wonder if they sent it so people know it's not fire smoke.
They must. Somebody said, sounds like the stupidest thing ever. Yeah. And the sewers are empty. All the commie pieces of poo are already in Canada, I guess. No, we still have plenty here. Thank you very much. So that might be a local town thing because I've never heard of it. It might just be because we live close to a city. And I live on a lake, and a long time ago, not that long ago, I think when my mom was a kid, a lot of the houses on the lake, their drainage used to go into the lake. So I think that's part of why they do a lot of checking.
So if you can smell smoke in your bathroom, that means that your sewage is not going into the lake. So they should give you money for doing it right.
Actually, it's probably good that I was there because that means that there's something broken in that bathroom. So now the homeowner knows and he can fix it. But yeah, Windy Hill Farms, it was super gross. And for a long time, nobody would swim in the lake I live on because it was super gross, but it's not anymore. Anne's seen it. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's a lovely lake.
It's a lovely place to be. So anyway, that was my long story about that. Sorry.
No,
So one of our comments from Saturday was about how horrible we are for talking about the Stephen West thing and that we must just be doing it for money. So Anne, how much have you made off of talking about that? Could somebody give me some money? Stephanie, how about you? How much have you made? Did you get refunded? No.
I did get refunded, and
good for you.
The email that came along with it was very gracious. And so I feel like my interactions closing it has been very positive. I mean, I think Stephen West is mostly just so first of all, that's the worst thing, right? In quotes.
Mhm.
So, like, and that's the thing that I think a big segment of our population thinks is like the worst thing, like a swastika.
Right.
That's the worst thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah,
So,
we should
And
go back and recap just
Adam,
in case
yeah,
anyone is
Adam just said
about this.
the
Yeah.
guy who had a design that looked a bit like an old Eastern symbol appropriated by Hitler. Yes. So
yes.
we're talking about Stephen West and his shawl knit along, the Geo Gradient knit along. That was a huge hyped up deal. And then somebody said the first clue looked like a swastika, even though it certainly looks like a pinwheel and has the incorrect angles to be a swastika.
Right.
But one person said it, so now we're all up in arms.
Well,
Right.
and
So-
it was hyped up enough that like even I decided to do it, which I've never
Mhm.
done any of his knit alongs. I've never really been interested. I've thought he was talented, but I wasn't like, yeah, that's my thing, you know. But
Right.
I guess
But
I
sorry, I was going to say it is a big event every year.
yes.
And it is definitely okay, you know, are my friends going to make it? What are they going to do? What is this? What is that? It's like, okay, you know,
Yes.
we'll join in.
And
I totally get that.
I was thinking about it. It's almost like a knitting holiday. Like it's like make along
Yeah.
season, you know, like
People
or
look
mystery
forward to it.
knit-along
It's like
season.
a lot of anticipation. Right.
Yes. It's just like getting the advent calendars in December. Like everybody's like, which advent calendar are you buying? And
Right.
you know, there's a lot of these like fake seasons of knitting. I guess they're not fake. It's like Mother's Day, you know, like here's a day to buy a card.
It's become a raging dumpster fire. Oh, and how. And if you're not involved in it, it's kind of funny. Such as, you know, watching it from the sidelines. But
Well, and I went through so many ranges of emotions from like the beginning when I was like so excited to like, what's going on? I'm so confused. Like, I have no idea. People are messaging me, did you see it? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I think like if you had chosen a red gradient that went into black,
Mhm.
you would probably be like, I really chose the wrong colors.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, you know, I saw a pinwheel. I understand that he really didn't want to be associated in any way because, like I said, that is the worst thing.
Right.
But
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. One thing that people have mentioned that is not a thing here is that in the Netherlands, it is a crime to use like a swastika.
Right.
Like you can't have those. So I can understand why he didn't want to be associated with it. I just think it
yeah.
went way out of control.
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can understand not wanting to be associated with the swastika or, you know, have a swastika shawl. But the thing is that it doesn't look at all like a swastika. And he sort of he took it and said, okay, if it's as if we all took that shawl square that doesn't have much to do with it at all, and it's like, well, it's going out and it's in 4 parts, so therefore it has to be this. As like we're all taking it for a symbol. It isn't, because he said something, because he sort of acquiesced to this. It's like we're all assuming that this square is the horrible thing that he never intended it to be, and we're all just kind of going along with it. And I mean, if I was watching a thing today, it was talking about cancellation is a participation sport. That's like everyone has to participate. The audience has to participate. You have to participate. You have to acquiesce and apologize. The audience has to say something. If he on his side did not participate, it wouldn't have been a thing. It really wouldn't have. And it's really sad for him. And now he's participating farther by kind of saving himself. He isn't really, but it's like, well, everybody forget about it. Clue 3 is the only one that, or variation of clue 1, that it's now into its 3rd iteration. And it's like, that's the only one that exists. And any other version is going to be deleted from the project pages and any participation in the make along. And everybody's just kind of, the different versions are okay. That Steven says are okay, but not any version.
Right.
And it's this sort of weird back and forth of that wishy-washiness that you're allowed some things and not other things.
Right. Well, and like initially, a lot of people were like, yeah, I can kind of see it. Maybe I'll rearrange my colors. So
Mhm.
like the darkest color isn't like the last like triangle. I
Mhm.
mean, you really took away people's ability to like think critically and be like, I'm going to make this the way I'm comfortable with it. And then went to, well, anybody that doesn't change and go along
Yeah.
is thinking bad thoughts and
Right.
wishing harm and all of it. And that's just a lot of assumptions about people you don't know on the internet. And we all just need to. I had a comment on my podcast about the things I said that I felt from like the people who were like accusing people of like being Nazis if they knit it. She said, well, I kind of felt the same way about the people who were so adamant about wanting to knit it and saying anybody who went along the other way. And I think all of us just need to like take a deep breath. It's okay. It's like an Amazon cart. Put your stuff in it, wait 24 hours before you hit buy. Like if you're gonna
Such
like
good advice.
if you're gonna throw things out onto the internet, like don't hit send, think about it. And I think everyone just needs to give each other a little more grace because we're all human beings. Stephen West, he is a human being. Like, yes, he has this huge business. I do think he needs to maybe get a more diverse test knitting group because it's possible that all his test knitters love him. And anything he makes, they're like, I love this. Oh, I love everything you make. This is awesome. Everyone's going to love this. And so maybe he needs a more diverse test knitting group so he can get some different opinions in there.
Well, I mean, as I have people that test knit for me, and there are some people that I used to use a lot, and I stopped because they are so used to the way I write my patterns and what I mean, even if it's not necessarily what I wrote down, that they weren't seeing mistakes I made in there. And that's a normal thing. If I knit all of Stephen West patterns, then I'm going to know that, oh, maybe he means this or that, or you know what I mean? And so it's important to have different people you can call on because you need that. But I really hated the fact though that it was like you cannot knit that one. If you show it, it's gonna be taken down because that seems pretty
and if
Nazi-ish, if you ask me.
And I've always before known, like, okay, I know Stephen's pretty liberal guy, but before it was always very welcoming. I do have an issue with him if anyone says, no, man, you're okay. I liked the original pattern, that he did delete their comments. Like, that's a bit of a jerk move, which is a pity. And like, okay, if you don't want to knit the shawl, if you do want to knit the shawl, whatever. But it's like, this is not good for business, buddy. You really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he was trying to have like a unified front. Like, I think he was like, I need to make a decision and I need to stick with the decision. But like, you could tell, like, he is stressed out. Like, he is so tired and he's trying to make decisions. And I'm sure he's like feeling really bad because people are mad at him. I mean, I don't like it when people are mad at me on the internet. And
you get over it.
Right. I mean, you have to figure it out, right? Because there's always going to be people who misunderstand you or purposefully want to dislike you no matter what,
Right.
Yeah, and I do think that people have been gunning for him for a bit, and that what is happening now is his worst nightmare, it's come true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is true because we know that he's given hush money to Adela, and he's always like backing those people who are the ones that incite the crowds. So
by hush money, we mean donating to her random thing, public knowledge.
Right.
As far as we know, he has not privately given money to Adela.
Right. No. We just call it hush money because
because
what does he have to do with her and her yarn?
Yes,
yeah.
he has given money to people who like to cancel other people for fun. So, you know that.
Yeah, we just as like people of the world, like the whole cancel thing needs to stop because it's starting to go. I mean, you're starting to just pick away all these people who a lot of them are like artists. A lot of them, you know, they don't have like teams behind them
Right.
figuring out their marketing, you know, to make sure it's all exactly right. And a lot of individual people. And when you go after someone, it's not like you're going after a corporation. It's a person. So yeah, so that really like for me, I would almost be like, oh, I should go back and knit because I want to be nice and I feel bad for him. But the thing is like I've never before wanted to knit his patterns. This was the first time. I'm not personally obligated to every small business person in the universe to support their business. So people have to have a product that people want, and that's different. Like not purchasing from someone is different than like slandering them on the internet.
Right. And the other thing about it's a little off topic, but you kind of mentioned it. The whole cancellation thing, you can only be canceled if you let people do it to you. Like, don't you think they want me to shut up? I don't care what they say about me. They can call me a Nazi and a homophobe and a transphobe and a racist and I don't know, whatever other nonsense they can think of. And I don't care. And that's the difference. That's what people have to start understanding, for one thing. And I think Stephen West started out kind of like on the right path, but then he just took like a sharp left and went off into a field. And I don't know if his career is going to come back from it. I mean, you said that his stuff is like a holiday almost. And after this nonsense, are people going to get hyped up for it? I mean, for real?
Yeah. I don't know. I think if he came out with an individual pattern that I saw that I was like, oh, I really like that, I might buy it and knit it, you know? But I'm not sure I would jump on the mystery knit along train again.
Right. And that's the thing. I wonder if his days of being like the guy for the knit alongs is going to end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I hope he's okay. And I hope that he has like real people in his life who can be like real support and not just like internet people.
Right. And I mean, like, I really feel bad for him, but also anytime this happens to anybody, the first thing I want to scream is, don't give in. Like, because that's when it all goes off the rails every time for all the people. So it's
I agree. And I think it was fine for him to offer an alternate, like be like, oh, you don't like this, knit this other thing or rearrange your colors. But to be like, yes, it does look like a swastika. Oh no, let me take it away. Like that's what it was, especially since so many people try not to see the spoiler. And then they might have already knit the whole thing. And I would have been really annoyed if I had gotten further and chopped up more of my yarn, because you were cutting yarn after every little segment. So
yeah. Here, Katie Clark says, don't cancel me, but I find his response to be relatively gracious in a difficult circumstance. And agree with him disallowing pictures of the original. And it's actually illegal, which we mentioned already, to have the swastika. So, right, but I'm not going to draw one. But as everybody knows, the swastika has right angles. Right angles. This was a pinwheel in a diamond. It was not even the same. And that's the thing that gets me. Okay, so maybe your color choice made it look like something. Go pick different colors, rearrange them, knit a different square. You didn't have to ruin it for everybody because your mind immediately went to this awful thing.
Well, and his didn't. Like,
and
he didn't. Like, it was that he was accused of that. And then it's like all of a sudden he was like, oh no, what did I do? And like Anne said, that was his worst nightmare. I think it was Anne. Did you say that? It was his worst nightmare. Yeah.
Because they've been trying to come after him, and now they finally, and I think that's mostly what got this going, is that the people who like to cancel don't like it when people succeed. So him being a very successful designer is offensive to them. And so it's a good reason for them to a court in the
Yeah,
Netherlands.
I don't think this is going to go to any court, not the Netherlands or anything else, Katie. I think he's.
Yeah, I really don't think that it's all about the angles. It's all about the angles. The angles are so wrong.
Right, but also the thing that gets me is that he switched it from the all right, he never saw it, his test nurse never saw it. Okay, cool. But it was after that some people saw it, but anyone who continues to not see it are canceled.
Right.
They
And
do.
then it turned into the whole, oh, you're a Nazi if you want to
Or-
knit this clue. That
Yeah,
was way cooler.
You are then bigoted for wanting to knit the original because you think it's okay. And also, podcaster Shauna Stitches, I believe her channel is called, she did a little thing about Clue 1. And it was very interesting. She was also, disappointed about Stephen West's response. But she was saying about how the color joins are, that it is actually there are new techniques there, and it's very clever in how the corners are all joined up and that it's seamless and how it's done. So from that perspective, I'm like, no, wait, we are again, Stephen West is very clever. So it's like, are you saying that he invented new techniques that are in this square that may not be in the other squares and he's deleting them for some basic log cabin crap? What?
Yeah, we want this new technology. Like because
Right.
I knit the first triangle and it definitely, and I've knit hundreds, if not thousands of things.
Right.
And it had techniques that I had never done before.
Right.
So
and that's part of why everybody gets so excited about his stuff, because even if you don't really like how it looks and it's kind of wacky and he always has different techniques. The way he thinks about stuff is not the way that I look at things and think about it. And that's what makes it so cool.
And the make-along video was awesome. Like, I have never watched any of the past ones because I was never doing the knit along, but I had to pull it up because I wasn't sure I was doing something correctly. I was just really impressed with the way he did his videos. It was so clear, and I mean, he's easy to listen to. So, but
and before all this, it's always been very positive, very calm, and that's kind of an attitude of, if you miss a couple of stitches, you're fine. Just make them up later. Everything's going to be good. It's all going to work out. If you don't like it, throw this in. You'll be good, has been his previous attitude to this point.
Yeah.
And also, even the one shawl I'm making, the Mingling Daisy shawl, which is one of his recent things, like, there is a lace stitch in there that I've done something similar before, but his technique is better. Like, the guy knows his stuff. He's very clever that way. But, dude, anyways.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry he gave in. I feel like offering the alternative and encouraging people to be creative would have been a better route. I understand the whole legal thing, that's kind of scary, but I don't know if that was really what was motivating him, and I don't think any of us really know. I just think he really wanted this to be successful, and then the first hiccup in the road was reaction.
Yeah. Elle says, don't cancel me either, but the new Clue 1 is so boring.
Yeah.
And then A Stitch in the Sky said, it's amazing how he spent so much time on it and then ditched it. And that's the thing. I know that he busted out that Clue 1 after a second, oh my gosh, crisis, and he had to have something in its place. But couldn't he have done something a little different? Don't put the lines around the edge of it. Just do the crossing, whatever. But no, now it's just a stinking square.
There was a fan-made pattern that it was lines coming from either side, and then they kind of hooked in the middle. And they said it kind of looked like a holding hands sort of a thing. And it's like, nope, that's not allowed. That would be
allowed to do it.
That'd be,
I mean, I think he was just really scared. He was scared. He just had to react. He had to make a decision. And maybe, like I said, maybe he needs more diverse people around him, giving him advice to help like even it out, not like just like react so quickly. We all need that. We all need people to talk to. You know,
We all need someone to say, no, really, you can chill for a bit. You're
right.
fine.
So,
Or even like if you want to make a new clue, tell everybody, I'm going to make a new clue. Let's put everything off a week. Like,
yeah.
put it off a week. I'll figure it out. And then you'll have a cool new clue, you know? Though I have
Right.
always wanted to make a barn raising squared. I've never made one, but I got
So-
refunded. So I'm not making it anymore.
Like you were saying though, in my family we call that having a mean friend.
Oh,
Like my mom and I will like, my mom will come out dressed in something. I'll be like, you're not wearing that, right? Because everybody needs the person that's going to say that to them.
yes.
And it's true. No matter what you're doing, you need somebody to be like, Steven, don't freak out. We'll figure it out. Like, take a break, go have a beer. Don't
Right.
look at the internet tonight. And yeah, you know what I mean? It's just,
We call that having a no person. Like,
Right.
I'm your no person. I will tell you no.
no, we've been doing it to my aunt. My mom explained it all to my aunt because her daughter's getting married and she keeps bringing over these dresses. And we're like, no, you cannot wear that dress. Pick a new one. Like, and it's not to be mean, but the reason we even started with the mean friend thing is because I don't know, when I was in my 20s, like forever ago, I found this dress. I loved it. I loved it so much. It was so beautiful. I showed it to my mother and she goes, if you wear that to the wedding, you will be the person we would make fun of. And I said, okay, I will go return it. It didn't matter how much I loved it because you need that person that's going to tell you the stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It sounds awful. My mom is awesome. Don't get any bad ideas, but
Well,
we all need the person that's going to tell you that because
yeah.
you don't want to be the person doing it.
You need truthful people around you. And maybe he even needed someone in the testing stage who would be like, hey, this kind of looks like, I don't want to offend you, but like maybe it kind of, and then he could have like regrouped before anybody knew there was a problem. And I still think it's a pinwheel. I don't think it's a swastika, but like I said, he could have had somebody tell him that a lot earlier. That it even kind of resembled it. Because like you said, people are out to get him. He's probably trying to do everything as perfect as possible.
And actually, this is really interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but he couldn't risk getting kicked out of RAV as that is his main pattern distribution mechanism. The mods on RAV were the ones being hefty with the delete button, and Steven probably just had to go along. So
They do have a history of that.
Wow.
That's fair enough. And as Joe says before, that I can see people saying that it's like, no, Steven, you have to get on this right away. While cooler heads may have prevailed if it was allowed to happen, I can see people saying, no, you have to disavow this immediately because that's a very PR firm thing, which is also a very leftist apologizing thing. It's in both kind of communities.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say goodbye, but I have to go.
Already?
Yes. I was only going to
bummer.
stay 30 minutes. I stayed 15 extra.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, but it's been fun. I enjoyed talking to you too. And yeah, we'll just see. We'll watch the world and see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, thanks.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
All right.
Bye.
Kat says, yeah, I think that's why I'm afraid of the make-alongs. What if you hate it when you make it? Yeah, I don't really like mystery ones. Like, I'm all about like, oh, pick this designer's pattern, or we're going to make a baby thing, or even something that's already out that everybody can decide whether or not they like it.
And yeah, and I mean, I can get Stephen West is just having fun with his stuff, or that if you really trusted a designer, they're like, yeah, they do good stuff, I'll trust that. But also in the thing, Paisley says, hello, pancakes. He probably would love a pancake, but his name is Panks, after the Dickens character in Little Dorrit, who is described when he walks to sound like a steam engine as he snuffles and goes, which is pretty perfect for this guy. So
Okay. I didn't know what the pancakes reference was too, so I guess that makes sense.
I mean, pancakes. Pancakes does make more sense.
Sounds
but
close, whatever.
But
So
anyways.
it's just us, Anne. Neil is long time ago. Somebody said, "Where's Neil?" Neil needed a night off. I mean, this starts late at his house, and he said he's been real busy lately. So Paisley's been calling him pancakes for months.
That's okay. He takes it a stride.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm tired. It was a long day. What about you?
Yeah. No,
Anne said she was going to talk about Israel, but she doesn't want to explode on live TV, so I don't know.
Yes, it is. It is something I'm pretty upset about. You gotta go QT for this one. Sorry.
I'm so uncomfortable in my husband's chair. I do not know how the man sits here for 8 hours a day. It's the worst. He's got it so that if really I'm supposed to be sitting like this or something, he's got it so it goes all the way back. I don't know what's wrong.
Like in a low rider vehicle, but in your own, office.
Yeah, no, it's not conducive to anything. Maybe if I wanted to take a nap, but not sitting.
Right.
But, okay, so Anne's going to tell us why she's mad, and I haven't watched the news because I've been working. And mothering.
I don't mean to upset you, but it's been horrible.
I mean, I've seen a little, but not much.
Right. Well, to when we had recorded last Saturday morning, like the news had just come out because time zone differences. But essentially, Hamas invaded Israel from Palestine, which they control. Hamas is the elected leader of Palestine. And yes, they broke down the fence. They invaded Israel. They paratrooped people into a music festival, killing 250 people. That's the current count. But overall, over 1,000 people are dead. And that's in this music festival. They kidnapped, raped and murdered and paraded their bodies through the streets. There is video of a woman who is stripped down and they're spitting on her. And
from Gaza, not Palestine.
Well,
Gaza
yes,
Strip, yeah.
Gaza Strip, but yes, Israel. I'm not. I'm not Palestinian, as you might tell. And, from the area which the Palestinians are. No, that there's this there. They have kidnapped old women and children, and they've kept many people prisoners. They kidnapped a general. They went from door to door, killing people in their beds in different kibbutzes. They still have several villages under control. So all of that's how this week has been for Israel. Then there are so many rockets. Get away, dog. There are so many rockets going into Israel right now that it overwhelms the Iron Dome. That is the amount of things. And then right now, so Israel provides water and electricity and everything else for the Gaza Strip. So it's so it's like, oh, well, they're shutting the power off. It's like, oh, how terrible, they'll be without power. They were providing power when there were still like daily rockets. They just haven't increased to the point where it is now. And as always, Israel is considered the villain in all of this. And it's like, and sorry, this is, again, I'm trying not to hit a ceiling.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes, please.
I spent 13 years working in counterterrorism, and this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. So that tells you something.
Right. So yeah, it's anyways, pausing in my thought. But yeah, it's the entire thing going forward. So the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, he says, no, we're taking this extremely seriously. We are doing counter strikes. We are doing this, and we're saying women and children leave now. So it's the first thing to come out after all of this is, oh no, Israel is going to kill the innocent, people of Gaza after this. And again, it's the Hamas. Hamas puts their terrorist organizations in the mosques if they weren't meeting there already. Okay, they keep their civilians there. Women and children are absolutely perfect because they can scream about them after they've used them for human shields. Okay, this is what they've done for years, and I'm so frustrated with people who are like, this is just a current thing. Like, people, Ukraine is over, Israel is in. This has been this way for decades. Okay, this is the worst iteration of this, but this has been an ongoing thing for decades. And if you haven't figured it out yet, sorry. But yeah, if that this is the level of that this is what these people are willing to do all the time. and anyways, I'm sorry. But that, Israel is morally equivalent, that Israel, who promote the only democracy in the region, the people who actually promote peace and humanitarian issues. And there's talk too, it's like, Israel did this and that. Okay. Israeli people, Jewish people in general, skew leftward. They do, for whatever reason, they do. So when you have Israel, their own country, mostly filled with Jewish people, it does skew leftward, but with the idea of the very real and present threat that the entire Middle East wants to kill them. Okay, so you do have a little, like with COVID, they were horrible with COVID and getting the shot and wouldn't let you into places. And they had that very strict thing, but they're also the freest country in the region. Anyways, but it's like, why are we supporting Israel? They're with there's a lot of people in Israel who are for, the World Economic Forum and stuff. It's like, that's sure. You can say that. Sure. Fine. But like, that doesn't justify them being murdered. That doesn't justify the constant call for their deaths. That doesn't justify protesting outside of consulates around the world, further intimidation. Yeah, it's terrible. Sorry.
A lot of people are saying that, take a deep breath, Anne. Like,
No,
I know
worry.
it's, I saw a knitting designer, I cannot remember who it was, I didn't write it down, who said something along the lines of, until the Palestinian people are free, this is what's going to happen. And I just wanted to punch her in the face, because there's no reason ever to do this stuff. And I think on purpose, I haven't watched as much of the news as Anne, because like the things that they're doing to children and whatever, I can't watch that. I have children those ages that are being on it's something I have to do to protect myself, because I can't see, I just can't see that. You know what I mean? But to go and say that the people in Israel are bad for, okay, I got a question. I heard a rumor that Hamas is funded by Israel, and no, not Israel. I'm sorry. Hamas is funded by Iran, and Biden just gave Iran a whole bunch of money. So,
and this is part of the thing too, part of the quote, this is just current thing. This is just the military.
Just one second.
Yeah.
These are the same people who think that if you need a pinwheel, you're a Nazi.
Yeah,
exactly. Hamas is good, and those are Nazis.
Yeah. Literally everything is Nazism, unless you're killing Jews because they're Jewish. And it's like, that's the big one. I'm just saying.
That's like the number one thing Nazis were about. Like,
yeah. Well, they were also really about socialism, but also,
and then,
yeah.
a little bit off topic, but she's one of the squad.
Talib.
I don't think it's Talib. It was another one.
Ilhan Omar, yeah.
Had a Palestinian flag and a gay flag outside of her office, and I wonder if she knows what happens to those people
Maybe
under Hamas.
somebody.
I mean,
maybe somebody told her that incest goes in with queer, which is not something I would say, but there could have been some confusion on her part. If you marry your brother, that counts under the rainbow. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's pretty sick. Saying again that under.
Oh, it was Talib. Sorry, I've been corrected in the comments.
I think both of them had Palestinian flags, but as far as I know, only Ilhan Omar also had the gay one. But anyways, yeah, it's been really bad. But also with the quote, it's just a new current thing. Nobody's going to put a Israeli flag in as like a car bumper sticker or like in the window of their shop or any of that. Because they're going to be afraid that someone's going to break their window, because the people who hate Israel are violent about it or acquiescing to such violence. So
they're
it's
the same ones that are, I mean, here they're the same ones that are protesting for BLM and stuff. So I would be scared.
BLM of Chicago in a lot of these pro-Palestinian protests, they are using images like a silhouette picture of somebody paragliding in as a freedom image. So legitimately, the guy who came in to then murder the families, rape the women, and brag about it, that guy is their freedom fighter. Okay? And there's also... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you don't have any morals or standards, that's what you put up. That's what you glorify, because what else do you have?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's true. Yeah. Oh,
I'm sorry.
I had a train of thought. Oh, okay. Sorry, crap. Paragliders, people, BLM,
freedom fighters.
Quote, freedom fighters. Oh gosh, it's also bad. Oh, okay. About that this is just the military industrial complex getting off and this, that. It's like, okay. Okay. Biden, just like Obama before him, has no love for Israel whatsoever. As you said, that he's just gave $6 billion to Iran. He's given multiple billions of dollars to Iran. Obama did before in a prisoner trade sort of a deal, quote, prisoner trade, and didn't. I mean, a lot of people have said, oh, if Trump was here, this wouldn't have happened, which I would say is true. Really not the point, but sure, I would say, is true. But it's like, oh, well, this is just, we're going to send all of our money into Israel instead of Ukraine right now. It's like, these people don't love Israel, okay? They really, really don't. And it's like, sure, if they're going to stay there in solidarity and they're going to, send things. It's like, they're going to enrich themselves out of it and twist it in their own way wherever possible. Okay, but I don't think that means that we shouldn't support Israel. Our military is the worst at it. Okay, we are the worst people to get involved in anything right now with Afghanistan, which they now have weapons from Afghanistan in this conflict. Hamas does. And potentially from Ukraine too, because those have been taken and there's no paper receipts to what have happened to the things that we have
nobody
bought.
knows where those went. So,
or the money for the Ukraine or any of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's horrifying. And somebody said that the Israeli search and rescue teams helped in Florida when the apartment buildings collapsed, and then the Turkish earthquakes, and that they were always offering medical assistance to Palestinians. So I read that they wouldn't never let a catastrophe go to waste. So there you go. Get what you want by doing that.
I don't. Okay, and also there's some like, oh, this is a conspiracy about this whole thing that, you know, that this will drive people to, by people they mean Muslim terrorists and their sympathizers around the world, to cause violence, and that helps somebody's agenda. And it's like, I can see it, but also it's like, if you're setting up this big old master plan, you're like, oh, this is my Machiavellian master plan. It entirely relies on having a group of people who love to kill and do violence and cruelty. Okay. And you don't, let's not, when we say like, oh, somebody else may be using somebody, or somebody has a plan, it's like, let's not forget the people who want to kill and do violence and cruelty. Like, let's not, hang on. Let's not skip over that point, that there are people who wish to do harm and would do it at any given opportunity. Let's pay attention to that. Like, maybe it's like, okay, maybe somebody somewhere has a motive, but let's not ignore the obvious one, that there are people who want to kill Jews because they are Jewish, and it's a horrible and sick thing.
Right. And the things that they're doing to the kids and the babies and the women, I mean, that's
right. And that Hamas, okay, the thing that is, again, Netanyahu comes in and he's like, okay, we're going in, women and children leave. Like I said, Hamas is not letting women and children leave. But Hamas says, if you attack us, we are going to kill the captives that we took on air, on TV. Like, that is their response. Like, oh yeah, we're shooting prisoners and probably won't be shot. But that's their response. That is the natural response. And it's horrible. And again, so many moral equivalents. Oh, and also there's a lot of people saying it's like, wow, I've seen more footage out of this war than I have, you know, from the Ukraine thing. It's like, yes, because, okay, among other things, Muslim terrorists are sick braggarts, that they want people to see and be afraid of what they do, and they and their followers get off on it. Okay. And they love to share it around, and they love to brag, and they love to say, aren't we strong? We did this to our enemies. Okay. And we are sharing this out of shock and look at what's happening. Somebody should do something. And it's like, oh, well, why have we seen it? Well, in the Ukraine and Russia conflict, those two sides are not to totally, that is a much more muddy affair. Okay. That not saying that Russia was justified in invading the Ukraine. Ukraine has also done some shady stuff, not saying that people deserve to be blown up. All of that. Okay. That is a much more geopolitically complicated affair. And you can say like, oh, well, there's a lot of subtleties between Israel and Palestine and that, and Palestinians and Gaza and everything. And it's like, okay, there's a lot of subtleties there. But as the Babylon Bee joked, that it's like, well, they're trying to come to a compromise here. You see, the Palestinians say, Hamas says that all Jews must die, and the Jews say that they don't want to, and no one's willing to compromise on this issue.
Right.
And that, has been the history of this.
Right. That's the whole thing. Kat says that she used to translate ISIS videos, and it's nothing new, just a new medium, and that they post all of their conquests. So
yeah,
super.
They
They're
love it.
messed.
Right.
It's messed up.
It is messed up. And sure, you want to say it's like, okay, there's people in Gaza who aren't Hamas that, don't want this violence, don't want this evil. It's like, but that's like legitimately every war. Okay, you could have said that there are people in Germany during World War II who don't like the Nazis and don't like this that they don't want the world domination thing, and they're not for it. Okay, that doesn't mean you shouldn't go to war with them.
Right.
You can't. Yeah.
I think that we find it so appalling because even though it's war, I don't know, I think we still have some standards. And so to just see somebody who just has no regard for any life that is their enemy is really disturbing. I think that that's a lot of it because, yeah, we bombed, like, we dropped the atom bomb and stuff and it took out whole cities, but that was like a last resort. Most of the time, they weren't trying to go after everybody in an entire city. Like, you know what I mean? I think that that's I think that's part of why it's so hard to comprehend for us because I don't know. I think that that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any Israeli knitting friends, but
yeah. And I do know because my the Israeli beanie pattern that I made, it's for free now. So please, it's on Lovecrafts. I don't have my own website yet, but once it is, eventually it'll be there. But it's free on Lovecraft. Go ahead, download it. Israeli beanie and Pinkava. We'll put a link sometime. But yeah, go pick that up. It's free. Use it, steal the pattern, put it on other things. I've always wanted to do in a little Star of David yoked sweater. If you get there sooner than me, good for you. But yeah, that if you want to do that for charity knitting or to show support or just to kind of something calm and productive, meditating on a point, yeah, go for it. But yeah,
absolutely.
As Tabitha says, we are shocked the left is not. And I do think that there are some of the left who are shocked, just not the hardcore BLMers or the Queers for Palestine or a lot of America's high-end Ivy League schools. There was a thing gotten together saying that, by the way, Palestine is justified in this. And anyways, it's very shocking. But
yeah.
And also there's also this certain contingent of people that, okay, and again, not as if there's never been any propaganda in war and that it's impossible for it to be in this war. But it's this is horrible and shocking, and some people assume because it's horrible and shocking, therefore it must be a manufactured narrative. Okay? And sorry, it frustrates me to know. And then again, that there's something like that in play, not impossible, but also the dead women and children and the bodies lined on the ground with bare torsos and numbers painted on them and a lot of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. This morning I was talking to my dad and he said, "Oh yeah, our mutual friend sent me some stuff that it's all fake." And I'm like, I can get in on the conspiracy with the best of them. Like, let me pull out my tinfoil hat and tell me what you think. But I don't know who would be making all of these videos and things if it wasn't actually happening. It's so depraved and disgusting that I can't believe that it's a conspiracy. I don't know.
I know. It's, yeah, there's lots of that going around. And it's
and Joe says we do have a friend in Israel. I wasn't aware,
okay.
so thank you for telling me.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. It's anyways, so yeah, that's
and BLM is pro-Palestine.
Oh yeah,
I'm not surprised about that either.
They are, which is so awful. And there's a couple of they can't.
That's a lot of the problem.
Right. And we we are dealing, like I said, with old school barbarism, that the point is to shock your enemies into submission. Though I believe that their ultimate end is to wipe Israel off the map. That that is mandated a lot. Anyways, that we really can't.
My.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a cat she doesn't like. It's a big old thing. Anyways, that this is an old school barbarism beyond our comprehending, and that we're like, oh, but really, it's there must really be a compromise point with them. It's like over and over and over again, there tried to be deals agreed with, arranged to, in order to make a happy, peaceful compromise. And it hasn't gone through. Why? Because Israel is still there. And that is unacceptable.
Sherry said, I remember seeing a pattern for black hats for the Israeli soldiers. And then Therese says she knows what it is. So maybe you could share that with us, the pattern for that.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that some people might feel like they want to make something. And to lighten it just a tad, if you make a black hat, it could count for an entry to the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run, which we're doing. So,
which is still ongoing.
A little bit of a thing, not to take away from the rest of it, but if you are going to make black hats for Israeli soldiers, put those in as entries. Go for it.
Exactly.
Maybe get some new yarn for knitting for them. So cool.
Yeah. And that's part of the thing too, that we are a knitting and news show. That part of it is informative and part of it ought to be entertaining. So definitely, we're still here knitting and doing silly stuff and talking about Stephen West, though I think Stephen West is important.
I think that anytime stuff like that happens, it's Carrie Smith says it. The reason that the knitting wars is so interesting is because it's like a little tiny microcosm of the whole world. So you can kind of look at what's going on here in knitting and see the nonsense, and it kind of helps you see the world. Here, the hat is called Ribbed Watchman's Hat by Shannon Copel. So if you guys want to do that, are you writing it down, Anne? It looks like you were. I will. I'm in the office. I don't
have a pen handy. I'm sorry.
That way I can share it with everybody.
Okay.
Sorry, I know this is super exciting, guys.
This is primetime television right here.
Right. It's not for the fun run, though. Teresa's making hers in red for her husband's birthday. We'll forgive you.
Birthday. It's also, talking of Carrie Smith, it's her birthday today, so
it is. Yeah, that's exciting.
Happy birthday, Carrie.
Okay. J Hook Crochet and Melodora Crochet are both in Israel. Both said they're okay for now. Well, thank you for sharing. I probably know several people who are in Israel, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't always connect. Like once you say it, I'll be like, oh yeah, but I don't always get there on my own. So, Well, Scary Spider says that we are both very informed and intelligent. So there you go, haters.
Fine.
I can't stand this chair. It's making me crazy.
Bless you.
That cold is still lingering just enough.
Oh,
they're both YouTubers.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I took your words out of your mouth. So, do you have more that you want to talk about with that, or are you done for now?
1 second. I'm going to take a picture. of this screen so I can look them up later because, like I said, I have a phone like a technology attached fool, but I don't have pen and paper right now. So
That's all right. If I wasn't in the office, I wouldn't have had any either. So
I don't know if we have much else to talk about, and we are low on guests, so it just became like an extra episode.
extra episode, which isn't a bad thing.
That's true, and especially since we have an interview. This week.
So this way
it'll
we still get our news in.
Right. So we'll be less newsy with that.
Yeah.
It's good though. I'm excited.
It is.
I don't know if I should stay.
Sometimes they fall through. So you know what I mean? Just keep it between us for now. And I think I mentioned on Saturday that I was gonna be putting out a new pattern, or it was supposed to be out this week, life, but next weekend, 2 new patterns for the Puritanical Knitting Fun Run. You'll have plenty of time to make both of them if you want to. So I've been working on that. You may have seen a teaser of them. I've shown them off a little bit. I was wearing one at the pumpkin patch yesterday because it was cold. So it was only like 50, but the wind chill, my goodness, when I got home, could not warm up. I had to get in bed with my little heat sack like I was, yeah.
Yeah, we've had heavy frosts the last 2, maybe 3 mornings, which is no good. So I don't know.
I'm not a fan of.
I mean, I love fall. Fall is beautiful. Fall is lovely. It just reminds me. It's probably said before. It's the Sunday night of seasons. It just reminds me that I need to fight until May. And I am not strong enough to fight all the elements.
Yeah,
as long as I can.
I don't feel that, but really we don't start. Usually we have our first snowfall by like the end of the month. And we usually start warming up like April. Sometimes we get a few extra storms, but so ours isn't as long as yours, which is, I hate winter. And one of my kids is like, I'm so excited about winter. I hate being hot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whose child are you? I know whose child they are. They're their father's child because he also despises being hot. But
you're like, be quiet. We have it so good right now.
I know, like this, give me 60 degrees all year round. I'll be fine. 60, 65, throw in a couple warm days, couple cooler, but mid 60s, we'd be golden. But
I was like, snow, beautiful, fantastic, great on the other side of the window. Once you have to get out into it, though, sucks.
Hate it. I hate it so much. And this year we have commitments for school and stuff that we didn't have in other years. And so like on Mondays, I have to drive a half hour. On Tuesdays, I have to drive a half hour. I am not looking forward to any sort of nonsense driving hoopla. Just don't want to do it. That's the thing I don't like. Oh, and then co-op. Co-op is up that's like 45 minutes away from us. I don't have time for this crap. So, yep. Sherry's going to combine some black Israeli hats, I think, for the fun run. So, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think I may have used up all my black yarn. I'll have to see if I can get some more.
I saw somebody did a version of my Betsy Ross hat in black and then gray gradients. That was very cool.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. But yeah,
I really do the stars. I got some ideas.
Well, I no promises, but also, I've got it on the mind, so I'll probably be a little faster. But I've talked about doing the Hanukkah socks for a while, and here actually I have something to show. Hang on.
Oh, cool.
Let me shuffle through this bag because I wanted to do the Hanukkah socks, and the plan is all over Star of David pattern. But then, okay, so my plan is to have it, stranded all over the socks. But I don't know if this is a good idea. So comment, so good or no good. but I just did like a little tiny sampler of what it would look like in just knits and pearls. So if you didn't want to, oh, hi, just me again. So if you didn't want to commit to the full, stranded color work, if you didn't like that, I don't know that it shows up very well.
Is that the whole star?
Yeah, it's just one star, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's a whole star. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Maybe a different yarn.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's some kind of. Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. Like it might be interesting for a sock pattern, but I don't know that it would be actually seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think so. But we will see.
Yeah, keep on it. Hey, I brought my knitting.
Hey.
So that's another peek of what I'm working on. I'm not going to show you all of it because I want it to be a little bit of a secret until I get it a little closer to done. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And hey, want to know why I'm down here in the office today?
Why are you down here in the office today?
Because my kids have built a tent in all of the open floor space in my bedroom, which is where I normally podcast. And I saw it, and the spot where I sit was open, but then there was tent right here, and I was like, I don't think this is going to work today. And they were so cute. Do we have to take it down today? No, you can sleep in it one more night. I have one kid that's a builder. They'll build anything: Lego, forts, pillows and blankets, sticks. They don't care. They'll build. So that's what happened. There was a lot of building happening.
Yeah. Joe says, honest test knitter here. No good. Okay, Joe, I'll take the advice.
Yeah. You know what, though? I was thinking about it. And like, if you wanted to like put it on a hat as a texture or something, it might be neat. Something where it's bigger yarn, bigger able to see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I can see it, but also I've knit a lot of stars of David. So
yeah,
I don't know that I'd get it initially if I wasn't just neck deep all the time. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe a single color would do better.
That's what I was getting at. But so Anne, I have a plan for you. Since you have to battle the elements from now until May.
Yes.
Go home. Build yourself a fort. You'll feel better. This is the time of year. Yeah.
Perfect time of year.
I give anything for forts driving me crazy again. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, this one kid constantly building forts, so I'm not going to complain because in 2 or 3 more years, they're probably not going to want to. So.
Ooh.
So.
That's very cool. Janice says, vintage ripple crochet pattern looks like a Hanukkah or menorah with 8 candlesticks. That'd be cool.
Cool.
Yeah, single.
And Joe says, yeah, single color.
Okay.
Contrasting cuff, heel, toe. I agree. I just think that with the stripes, it's too much.
Yeah, and that was kind of the first one I grabbed because I had planned it for those socks already. But it's like, yeah, I'll grab a normal. I'll do stranded. I'll plan it all.
You'll get there. I know you will.
It'll be good.
So.
It'll be fun.
Yep.
Anyways.
Okay. I think that's it, friends.
Yes.
So thanks for joining us. It's been fun. We'll see you on Saturday with our guest. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Had a good time, y'all.